Nobody else can in that position.
The biggest sell job that he did was to George Pickens. It didn't start off so great for George Pickens. He was coming off, walking off the line. He looked unengaged. And that's
This is Dallas Game Day. And today, we talk about something bigger than a win, bigger than a streak, bigger than Thanksgiving football. Today, we talk about belief. Real belief. The kind of belief that comes straight from the top of the Dallas Cowboys. Because Jerry Jones walked into that locker room on Thanksgiving night, turkey leg in hand, and made it clear to the world that this team is not just surviving. This team is deserving. Deserving of a playoff spot. Deserving of recognition. Deserving of respect. And he didn't whisper it. He didn't hint at it. He said it loudly and confidently. The way this team is playing, they can sustain this. And if they get their shot, they deserve to be in the postseason. That's not hype. That's not wishful thinking. That's a declaration from the man who has seen every version of this franchise over the past 3 decades. Think about everything this team has pushed through. 3 straight weeks of absolute pressure right out of the bye. A devastating tragedy with the loss of teammate Marshawn Kneeland, a moment that could have shattered any locker room in the league. And yet this team rallied. They didn't just respond, they resurrected their season. They fought back from a 21-point deficit. They took down the defending Super Bowl champion Eagles. 4 days later, they took down the AFC champion Kansas City Chiefs in the most-watched window of the entire NFL calendar. This is not luck. This is identity forming in real time. A first-year head coach stepping into the biggest moments of his life. A roster pressed to the edge and refusing to fold. Veterans stepping up. Young players breaking out. A locker room that used tragedy, pressure, and doubt to fuel a complete transformation. Jerry Jones knows what he's seeing because he's seen teams collapse and he's seen teams rise. He's watched contenders get built piece by piece, and he's watched pretenders fall apart when the heat turns up. What he's seeing now is a team that is gaining momentum at the exact moment the NFL season demands it most. 3 straight victories, a defense that has suddenly found its spine, an offense that can go toe-to-toe with anyone. A team that went from 3-5-1 to 6-5-1 and is now charging toward December with purpose. And now comes the next test. The Detroit Lions on December 3rd. A primetime showdown at Ford Field. Another national stage. Another elimination-style moment. Another chance to prove that this surge isn't temporary, that this spark is becoming a fire. Jerry Jones believes they deserve to be there. The players believe it, the coaches believe it, and now the entire NFL is being forced to believe it too. So the question is simple. Do you believe this Dallas Cowboys team can finish this run and punch their ticket to the postseason? Let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned because Dallas Game Day is just getting started.